Hi, good day, everybody, and welcome to this special recognition day with ASPI. We've got a pretty interesting event today. What I will normally do is we would have the disclaimer, but we're not going to cover any medical terminology or conditions at this stage. But I do ask, please, if you will turn your cameras and microphones off during the session up until the time that you may get invited to participate. Otherwise, it's very disconcerting to the presenters and to the audience watching everybody else eat their breakfast or whatever event that they're doing. So I'd appreciate if you do that. And with that, then I would like to hand off to Mark Lichty, who will begin our program.
Okay, thank you, Joe. And by the way, somebody hollered for some reason my video gets bad because someone said that it was shaky early on. But in any event, we really appreciate your joining us today, because this is an honoring of a dear friend and somebody's huge difference in the progress of active surveillance, Thrainn Thorvaldsson. And so today we've got a few videos that we're going to play. The first that you'll hear from on video is Howard Walensky. Howard was the founder of ASPI, actually, years ago at a PCRI conference. And Howard also does the Active Surveiller newsletter. And if you haven't signed up for that, he's got some good work in there. And I'd really encourage you to sign up for it. And by the way, Howard, too, is the recent recipient of the Harriet Pinchot Award that's given by Prostate Cancer Research Institute. And I have to say that Mark Schultz and PCRI has done so much good work in terms of fostering and moving ahead active surveillance. And if you haven't read Mark's book, Prostate Snatchers, and he's written a subsequent book too, I'd recommend that as well. And then we'll hear from Gene Slattery, another founder, and Alex, who actually currently is running PCRI. So they'll all be on video, and then you'll hear from a couple of us, and you'll hear from Thrainn. So with that, Bill, do you want to run the videos?
A wise man once told me it would be great if we could pay tribute to people while they're still alive. And that great man was Mark Lichty. And today we're here to pay tribute to Thrainn Thorvaldsson. Thrainn, I have to say, changed my life. I hope for the better. He heard that I had spoken out and criticized urologists at a major meeting. I was the first patient to speak to the ASCO meeting, the American Society for Clinical Oncology. And wouldn't you know it, they forgot me on the stage. And so I had to grab them. I kept waiting for them to call on me. I finally grabbed the mic with minutes to spare, and I said, "Do you mind if I have something to say?" So I just took a flyer and did a 7-minute rant on what was wrong with this and how doctors were not listening to their patients. And then I wrote a column about this for Mid-Page Today, and other people wrote about it as well. And I guess I became a little bit of an underground hero at the PCRI meeting out in LA back in the winter of 2017. And Thrainn heard about this. And Thrainn, being Thrainn, started to investigate. He tracked me down, and it was almost a miracle that we connected, because I was teaching graduate students at Northwestern University's Medill School, and I rarely looked at my email. I don't know what possessed me, but Thrainn had tracked me down to this email that I hardly ever used. So it was serendipity, and we talked. And he said he was interested to hear of my story, but of course he had an assignment for me. He wanted me to find out what sort of support groups existed in the United States. He had gathered so much information, he needed more. And so I ended up writing a column about this and by the way, I'd be like the last guy that would go to a support group. But somehow Thrainn sucked me into this. And so I looked into it and I saw that there were no support groups only for men on active surveillance. And, it wasn't until I had this contact with Thrainn that I had met anyone other than a cousin of mine who was on active surveillance. We were all kind of isolated, spread out over the world. And, maybe guys like Gene and Mark and Thrainn went to PCRI meetings, but that would be the last thing I would ever do. But Thrainn sucked me into this, and I saw with him a need for support for men on active surveillance, because men on active surveillance didn't necessarily feel comfortable in general groups where they were talking about incontinence and impotence and penis shrinkage and brain fog and the whole chamber of horrors that you can face. And so Thrainn and I tossed around the idea of starting some sort of education or support group. And I came up with the idea of holding an international meeting in Iceland. By the way, I always wanted to go to Iceland, so partially it was selfish. And so we talked about it, but nothing really happened until Thrainn recruited Gene Slattery, Mark Lichty, and also the advice of Alex Schultz on forming this group that became Active Surveillance Patients International. And, I was a newspaper reporter. I never was a meeting organizer. I never was an activist, but thanks to Thrainn, I had my life changed. And I hope, in the spirit of Thrainn, that I've been able to help some other men with information and support and education about this disease, which I don't necessarily consider a disease. But nonetheless, we get labeled and stigmatized and face anxiety issues and other issues. So, at any rate, a few more words about Thrainn. He's a visionary, but he's a pragmatist, and he has a clear sense of what can be done. He's a steady hand. He plays to people's strengths. He's a lover. He's not a fighter, and he's a good organizer. And to this day, beyond ASPI, he's involved with UMO in Europe, which is I think represents more than 25 national organizations on prostate cancer. He is also experimenting with smaller support groups. So at any rate, I'm glad to say that we're here to pay tribute to Thrainn, and I'll shut up.
I met Thrainn in Iceland on a weekend in September 8th of 2017 at a PCIR conference on prostate cancer in Los Angeles. We became instant friends and spent much time talking about starting a new PCA cancer group, talking about active surveillance patients. I also met Mark Lichty, and Mark, Thrainn, and I met with Alex Schultz, who was the director of PCRI, and she put on the conference for us. The three of us discussed the idea of starting an active surveillance patient support group with her. She was very receptive, so our wheels started turning for 2018. Thrainn knew Howard Walensky, a Chicago-based journalist and a longtime active surveillance patient who writes a blog at MedPage Today. And Howard became a board member of ASPI. Mark, Gene, and Thrainn donated $10,000 each to get ASPI started and called it Active Surveillance Patients International. Thrainn's son, Oscar, put together our first website. We had a great team and a lot of experience in putting this group together. Our only regret was not being able to put on the Icelandic ASPI conference. We had the will, but we did not have the funds. I can say one of the best things that we did was put together ASPI from scratch in St. Louis. And without the help of Shelley Jones, secretary and board member, we could not have completed it. It was a lot of work setting it up in St. Louis, but well worth it. ASPI is flourishing, and I'm very proud of you and everyone else involved in the new ASPI of Pennsylvania. Great job, and you are doing great work for men with prostate cancer. Since leaving ASPI in 2020 as its president and starting my own Empowered Surveillance Patients Foundation, I have followed Thrainn and Elin on Facebook. I kept in touch with Thrainn on Facebook and followed his hard work with prostate cancer patients around the world. Thrainn, you are an inspiration to all men with prostate cancer, and I am proud to know you. I share your work habits, passion, and selflessness for all men fighting prostate cancer. I know you do this as a payback for your successes in life. You and Elin have been and will always be a great team. Iceland is much better for it. You are very special and dedicated to prostate cancer patients. You have made a tremendous impact on men and their families. Thank you and Elin for all that you have done. You guys are well deserving of this award. I know of no one who deserves this ASPI Patient Advocacy Award more than you. Congratulations, and keep up the great work that you do for prostate cancer patients.
Hi, my name is Alex Scholes, and I have the honor of serving as the CEO of the Prostate Cancer Research Institute, otherwise known as PCRI. I also have the honor of serving on a board for ASPI, Active Surveillance Patients International. Now, today, ASPI is giving out their Patient Advocacy Award to somebody that I think is extremely deserving. His name is Thrainn Thorvaldsson. Now, Thrainn is from Iceland. He is a businessman who was diagnosed with prostate cancer in 2005, and he did his research. He found out that he had Gleason 3+3 and Gleason 3+4, and because of that, he decided that active surveillance was an option that he was going to choose. Now, back in 2005, if you think about it, active surveillance is really popular as a treatment option today, or a non-treatment option, we should say, but back then it wasn't as popular, and so he had to go and not only do his research, but find the right physicians that would work with him and kind of be a trailblazer. He had to be somebody who went ahead and made his own way when it wasn't the most popular decision. And so because of that, he gained a lot of information. He advocated for himself. He did a lot of research. And not only did he do that for himself, he decided to turn around and give back to his community. He created the first active surveillance international prostate cancer support group. And he started to just get men in his community to be aware of prostate cancer, but also to be aware of active surveillance as a treatment. And then 11 years later, in 2016, he came to one of our conferences, and this is where I got to meet him for the first time. Our conferences are designed for prostate cancer patients and caregivers to be able to interact with each other, but also learn from a lot of different opinions and learn from the physicians, the patient advocacy community about prostate cancer. And sitting there were men who we had as support group leaders of our active surveillance groups. So we had Mark Lichty, Martin Guritz, we had Bill Manning, Howard Walensky, and many more. And when Thrainn met them, he found a community of men. And so they started to have discussions, and then all of a sudden, I heard that they were going to create the first active surveillance education advocacy organization for active surveillance only in prostate cancer. So they created ASPI. Now, not only did they make ASPI, they made it in an international forum. So ASPI, you're probably aware of them as you're watching this video, but I have seen the ins and outs, the behind the scenes work of so many people who have been trailblazers, and Thrainn was definitely one of them. Thrainn is somebody who is an active voice in the international community in Europe, the UK, all over the world, and advocates for men to not only know that active surveillance is an option, but here's how you live with cancer. Thrainn is very methodical. He thinks through these situations and really helps men get down to the nitty-gritty of what is important in living with cancer if you're going to make this choice. How to talk to your doctor. What should your PSA look like? The intimate questions that active surveillance patients should be asking. He has done so much work on the international level and in the US. PCRI is so proud of him. Dr. Mark Scholes, Dr. Mark Moyat, our entire team stands with you, Thrainn. We're so excited that you are receiving this award. All the people in ASPI have done an incredible job creating the award, and now they get to present it to you. So Thrainn, we really appreciate you. Thank you for everything that you and your wife have done for the prostate cancer community. We are so honored, and I really am so thankful for who you are, what you do, and I truly appreciate you. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy it.
Well, hello, I'm Bill Manning, one of the directors at ASPI, and I just want to say a couple very quick words about my association with Thrainn. We were supposed to meet up at PCRI conference in 2016, and somehow the cell phone gremlins just didn't let that happen, and we kept crossing paths and never did hook up. But I was introduced to the group through a mutual friend of ours that belonged to a local support group that I've been a member of since 2009. So in 2017, I was invited to join ASPI, but because of some personal commitments at the time, I couldn't do it. And in 2019, I was finally able to join, and I got to know Thrainn very well at that point. And we've worked together quite a bit since the inception of ASPI. And I have to say that we've become very close, both at a professional level and at a personal level. And I've always found Thrainn to be a person of very high integrity. And I've felt that our relationship has really helped me in my local goals of helping in active surveillance. So Thrainn, you're a great guy, and very, very happy that you're getting this award.
So thank you, Bill, for those words, and thank you, Alex and Howard and Jean, for your kind words about Thrainn. Lovely, lovely words. And so is Paul here, Thraenn's friend? Paul, could you speak up if you're here?
Well, thank you. Good afternoon, all of you. I am going to talk from Iceland, a colleague of Thrainn in our prostate cancer organization, Framför, which is an Icelandic word meaning progress or becoming better. Congratulations, Thrainn, for having been awarded the ASPI's first Patient Advocacy Award today. You really deserve that. And I'm speaking from the Icelandic vantage point, so I want to say that when Thrainn was diagnosed with prostate cancer in 2005, and after careful consideration and extensive reading and consulting with specialists, home and abroad, as you have already heard, he made the brave but well-founded decision not to opt for radical treatment, as his doctor had deemed necessary. Thraenn's decision to keep his cancer under active surveillance affected more people than just him and his family. In Iceland, he shared his story publicly, formed support groups, and founded the prostate cancer patient organization Framför with a few other pioneers. Through the years, Thrainn has personally engaged with dozens of newly diagnosed men, providing information and consolation with his knowledge and skills in individual and and group peer counseling. A few days ago at a board meeting at Framför, I asked Thrainn if he had any idea how many men he had talked to and counseled. Well, no, he didn't have any idea how many there were, but they were many. And as we were thinking about that, his face broke into a smile, and a vivid memory obviously came to his mind. And he told us that once he had been hiking with his wife, Elin, around the beautiful mountain of Kirkjufell. And suddenly, when they were there in the quietness of Icelandic nature, his cell phone rang. And on the other hand, on the end of the line was a newly diagnosed man with prostate cancer, both in shock and in anguish. Thrainn gave him the time needed, and after a short conversation, the man calmed down and felt secure as he could be. Thrainn and his always supportive wife and teammate, Elin, carried on with their hike and immersed themselves in the joy of hiking in solitude in the Icelandic landscape. Thrainn is still at the forefront of our patient community in the fight for regular screenings, education about the disease, and the use of active surveillance as the primary treatment option for men with low-risk prostate cancer. Recently, he joined the administrative board of the Icelandic Cancer Organization, which is like an umbrella over all cancer organizations in Iceland. So he's still running fast. We in Framför extend our congratulations to Thrainn and express our gratitude to ASPI for recognizing and honoring his extraordinary contributions. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul, for those kind words. Thrainn is always one that brings a humanity to our board meetings. He'll send us pictures of Iceland and pictures of volcanoes, and we always appreciate the balance, too, that you have in your life. And what more can I say about you that has not already been said? You are indeed a man of great humility. And when I first spoke to you about this award, and you protested, you didn't think you deserved it. And I just don't think that we know the ripples that we create, nor the ripples that you created in your early adoption of active surveillance. And the work that the men that you have saved that are with low risk prostate cancer, who were saved from the ravages of overtreatment, which was what was going on then. And you and I were diagnosed about the same time, back in 2005, and active surveillance back then wasn't even a path. There was no active surveillance, but it wasn't even a term back then. And so you decided to blaze a trail, and against the advice of your doctors. And that too took a lot of courage to blaze that trail. And so now it's ironic. It's kind of ironic now that active surveillance is not only an accepted alternative, it's really becoming the preferred alternative for low risk and intermediate risk prostate cancer. And you too blaze the path in this way. There's 3 of our board members that have moved from active surveillance to treatment, all successfully, all elegantly moved beyond active surveillance. And so you were able to do that and make a better choice, because by the time you did that transition, you'd been on active surveillance for 12 or 13 years, and the technology and the science around treatment had changed dramatically, and so that too is an independent reason, really, for staying with active surveillance for a time. You know, Oscar, I forgot to ask, or Thrainn, I forgot to ask, do you have the award yet? Because if you do, I kind of wanted to let the audience better see that award. I designed this award to really be much more than an award. This one thumb of this picture has the word patient, and the other has the word doctor, and it's about listening, about the patient and the doctor listening to one another. And Thrainn understands that and gets that. And for those in the audience, your voice is very important. You all on this call are making a difference, because the medical profession wants to hear your voice, and the medical profession has heard your voice, Thrainn, in this. And this award too says Emerson's words: "Where there is no path, blaze one and leave a trail. Where there is no path, make a path and leave a trail." And Thrainn, that indeed is what you did. And Oscar is Thrainn's son. Thank you for arranging to get that award framed in Iceland. Appreciate that. And so with that, I want to emphasize to those of you that are listening to this program today, your voice is extremely important. Many doctors want to hear your voice. So make it heard. Express your voice. Express what you're concerned about. Take the articles that you have to your doctors, because we are changing the behavior. I can hardly think of another disease where the patients have changed the course of treatment as much as we have. And so we at ASPI are proud of the fact that we've been able to do that. So we really want to encourage you all to stay with us, make your voice heard. And so thank you.
Dear friends, I'm so touched. I don't know what to say. Fortunately, I have written something down. Otherwise, I would be unable to speak. But first of all, I'm very happy for this moment, and I'm also extremely happy to have my 3 children with us. Unfortunately, my wife is not able to be with us. But Siv, Thrainn, and Oscar Thor, I'm very pleased to have you with me at this great moment. As I say, I'm speechless, but fortunately I have written something down, which I'm going to read. Well, I am profoundly honored to receive the first ASPI Patient Advocacy Award in recognition of my 18 years journey through prostate cancer and active surveillance. In February 2005, my life changed drastically when I was diagnosed with prostate cancer, throwing me into a sea of uncertainty regarding treatment options. Despite my urologist's recommendation for immediate surgery, I and my wife chose to refuse treatment. I had learned about Dr. Lawrence Klotz's groundbreaking theories. We were concerned about potential side effects and also optimism regarding future advancements in technology and treatment options. This decision positioned me in opposition to the prevailing medical opinion in Iceland at that time, that almost every man diagnosed with prostate cancer underwent treatment. Our decision to choose my own path even resulted in being removed from a speakers list at the prostate cancer conference in Iceland, following requests from doctors, as I was told. Choosing not to undergo treatment significantly impacted my life. I enjoyed 14 years of full quality of life, supported high numbers of men diagnosed with prostate cancer by advocating for active surveillance as a viable option, and established deep friendship in the prostate cancer community. This journey of mine led me to have the initiative to establish, together with a friend, the first active surveillance support group in Iceland in 2014, co-founding of ASPI in 2017, the revival of the Cancer Association Framför progress in 2019, joining the membership of European UMIO in 2019, and establishment of the first international internet active surveillance support group with the name ASPI CAVE in 2023. I am immensely grateful to Dr. Klotz, the father and pioneer of active surveillance, for introducing the active surveillance theories, and to Dr. Sigmundur Guðbjarnarson, my brother-in-law, and a renowned Icelandic scientist who first introduced me to Dr. Klotz's theories. I would also like to extend my gratitude to my friend and high school classmate, Jóhann Heiðar Jóhannsson, a doctor and pathologist who, in the early beginning, provided me with insightful articles about prostate cancer. Dr. Klotz initially proposed the concept of active surveillance in 1997, aiming to reduce the over-treatment of men with low-risk prostate cancer. His theories initially faced significant opposition, with claims that they would lead to the death of many men. Revolutionary progress is often told to follow 3 stages. First, the idea is considered outlandish. 2, the idea is obvious, as everyone can see. 3, the idea is brilliant, and I have supported it from the beginning. We are pleased that Dr. Klotz's theories have long time ago reached the 3rd stage. Back in the infancy of my journey, personal guidance on prostate cancer was scarce. Thankfully, the prostate problem mailing list in the US proved to be an invaluable support. To cut a long story short, 14 years after being diagnosed in 2019 at the age of 75 with rising biomarkers, I undertook radiation therapy and androgen deprivation therapy. This chapter of my life with prostate cancer and active surveillance is one for which I am profoundly grateful to be recognized today. When Mark first informed me of this proposed award, I felt that others were more deserving. Over the years, I have received enough gratitude from many men and their spouses I have interacted with. However, I came to realize that one particular group of patients of which I am a part has yet to receive the recognition it deserves. Often scientists and medical professionals introduce groundbreaking theories that lack concrete research support in their early stages. These theories remain unproven until patients are willing to participate in effectiveness studies such as clinical trials. Taking such risk is not always without danger. In 2005, I took that risk, and I believe that my example has encouraged some men to choose the path of active surveillance, thereby allowing them and their spouses to enjoy better quality of life. Therefore, I humbly accept the ASPI Patient Advocacy Award on behalf of all those patients who have been and continue to be willing to take risks to test the efficacy of new medical ideas when they remain unverified. In closing, on behalf of the above-mentioned group of patients, and not just for myself, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to Dr. Klotz, the award committee, and the ASPI board for this tremendous honor, and to my wife, Elin, for her support during the years. Also to PCRI for granting me the opportunity to attend their conferences in Los Angeles on 3 occasions, as well as to European UMEO for the conferences and seminars I have been able to attend. Those experiences have not only deepened my understanding of prostate cancer, but also blessed me with enduring friendship. With regards and warm greetings from Iceland.
Thank you so much, Thrainn. And but again, I said this, but for Prostate Cancer Research Institute and Mark Schultz and the work that he's done, we wouldn't have existed, nor do I think we would have seen all of the progress that we have seen in active surveillance. So I'll come back to my question. Do any of you in the audience have any questions for Thrainn or comments for Thrainn? And if not, then we'll go into kind of a general discussion or a support session. But just raise your hand if you have a question.
Howard's raising his hand.
Yeah, well, Thrainn, congratulations. And I'll never forget being in this meeting in Los Angeles where we all got together, put on, in effect, they look like bowling shirts to me for ASPI. And this delegation of men all dressed in blazers, I think they were blue blazers, and they had on little golf hats, and they sort of marched together. They were from Australia, and they welcomed our Icelandic delegation. You were the only one from Iceland, but at any rate, congratulations. And Mark, we should thank the awards committee as well.
Yes, we've done 3 awards actually. We did the Shodak Award this year with Albertson, in the past with Klotz, and we're doing this one now, and we also did a special award this year with music, and all these videos are on our website. And music has actually pushed the uptake or the adoption of low-risk active surveillance to 90%, whereas the average is 60% in the United States. So we were very pleased to have them. They're very progressive thinkers. But any other comments from folks? Okay, well, it's so for those, if no other questions for Thrainn about his own journey, does anybody else have an issue that they want to speak of here? Because I had said that we wanted to hear your voice. We wanted to shift this over to whatever we wanted to be. I mean, by the way, I will say that while you're gathering your thoughts, raising your hand, next month we decided, because it's so close to Thanksgiving and time is so hectic, that we thought we would just kind of do a session with the board, a hangout with the board. And as I said, 3 of the board members have transitioned to treatment. So some of you that are thinking of that could benefit too from next month. But it's just generally, let's get to know one another, and we enjoy hanging out with you folks, and I hope you enjoy hanging out with us. So I think it's November 25th that we'll do our next webinar. Thank you, Thrainn, for your words, and all of you for your words. And this has been a lovely occasion. So I guess we'll bid you a farewell to go out and enjoy your Saturday afternoon.